My name is Sarah, and I come from a small village in Iran. I'm 23 years old, and I always had one big dream: to go abroad and build a better future for myself and my family. My father was a school teacher. My mother was a homemaker. We didn't have much, but we had love. Every evening we all sat together on a mat to eat dinner. Simple food, but full of warmth. Since I was a little girl, I loved English. I watched cartoons with subtitles and repeated every sentence. My father would smile and say, "One day Sarah will fly far." That day came when I received my student visa to Canada. I still remember it clearly. I was sitting in our living room with my mother when the email came. I opened it slowly, my hands shaking, and there it was. Approved. My mother gasped. My father looked at me with wet eyes. He hugged me tightly and whispered, "Now go, fly high, but never forget who you are." The flight to Canada was long, almost 16 hours. It was my first time on a plane. I stared out of the window, trying to imagine what my life would be like. When the plane landed in Toronto, I was shocked by the cold. It was snowing. Everything looked white like a painting. Beautiful, but empty. I stepped outside the airport. My fingers started freezing immediately. My thin coat was not strong enough. I had never seen snow in my life. Now it was everywhere. I called a taxi and gave the address of the small room I had rented near my college. The driver was kind. He asked, "First time in Canada?" I nodded. "Welcome. You'll get used to it," he smiled. When I reached my room, I was alone. It was dark, cold, and quiet. No sound of my mother's voice. No smell of Iranian food. Just silence. That night, I sat on the edge of the bed and cried. I had reached my dream, but it didn't feel like a dream. It felt like loneliness. My classes started after 2 days. I dressed up nicely, packed my bag, and reached college early. I wanted to make a good impression. But from the first class, I felt lost. The teachers spoke too fast. They used words I didn't know. The students laughed at jokes I didn't understand. When the teacher asked me a question, I panicked. I stammered, I think, maybe." The class went silent. Then some students laughed softly. That laughter stayed with me all day. I didn't speak for the rest of the class. At lunch, I sat alone in the cafeteria. Everyone seemed busy with their friends. I felt invisible. I messaged my best friend back in Iran. "I feel so stupid here. Maybe I made a mistake." She replied, "No, you're just scared. Give it time." I knew I needed to earn money. My parents had sold jewelry to pay for my plane ticket and first semester fees. I didn't want to ask them for more. So I started looking for a part-time job. After 2 weeks, I found one. In a fast food restaurant as a cleaner and dishwasher. The manager said, "We pay minimum wage. Can you work nights?" I nodded. "Yes, I can." The first night was terrible. I cleaned tables, washed greasy plates, threw trash, and mopped floors. My back hurt. My feet burned. When I returned home at 2 a.m., I was too tired to eat. I just lay on my bed, fully dressed, and fell asleep. The next day, I had classes again. I kept yawning. My eyes were red. But I didn't complain, because I remembered my mother's words. Real diamonds are made under pressure. Winter got worse. The temperature dropped to 20 degrees C. My shoes were not waterproof. My socks were always wet. One morning, as I walked to college, a car splashed dirty snow on me. My clothes were soaked. I stood in the cold, shivering, and finally, I broke down. Right there on the sidewalk, I cried like a child. I missed the sun of Iran. I missed my mother's warm bread. I missed the call to prayer from the mosque near my home. I missed belonging. That night, I cooked Ada's polo, my favorite Iranian dish. in my small kitchen. It didn't taste like my mother's, but it gave me a little peace. Then I opened my old diary and wrote, "A day 45 in Canada. I cried today, but I also cooked. I am not weak. I am just becoming strong in a new way. After 2 months, something inside me changed. I was tired of hiding, tired of being silent. I told myself, Sarah, if you keep waiting to be perfect, you'll never grow." So I started speaking, slowly, carefully. When the teacher asked questions, I raised my hand. When I didn't understand something, I said, "Can you repeat that, please?" I also started watching English movies with subtitles. Every day, I learned 5 new words and used them while speaking to myself in the mirror. At the restaurant, I began greeting customers. "Hello, how are you today?" I smiled even when I was tired. One day, a customer said, "You have a beautiful accent." I laughed. "I'm trying." He replied, "You're doing great." That small compliment gave me power. It told me, "You are more than your mistakes." One afternoon, after class, I went to the library to study. I was sitting alone when a girl walked up to me and said, "Hi, are you in Professor Adams's class?" I nodded. "Yes." She smiled. "Me too. I'm Nia from Kenya. Mind if I sit?" That was the start of something beautiful. Nia and I became close friends. She was full of energy, always laughing, always helping. She understood my silence, my struggles. One day I told her, "Sometimes I feel like I don't belong here." She held my hand and said, "We all feel that, but that doesn't mean we don't belong. You are here because you earned it." We studied together, walked home together, and sometimes cried together. In a land full of strangers, Nia became my first family. Life in Canada is expensive. Even after working nights at the restaurant, I was always worried about money, rent, books, food, bus fare. Everything cost more than I expected. I started skipping meals to save money. Some days I ate only bread and tea, but I didn't complain. One day I called my father. He asked, "Are you okay, Betty?" I wanted to say no. I wanted to cry, but I said, "Yes, Baba, I'm learning so much." He replied, "We are proud of you, but don't forget to take care of your health. You are our treasure." After that call, I sat on my bed, holding the phone, and I cried again. Not because I was weak, but because love feels stronger when it's far away. It was the coldest day of winter. The news said, "Feels like 30 degrees." I still didn't have a proper winter coat. I was wearing 2 sweaters and a cheap jacket from the thrift store. While waiting at the bus stop, I was shaking. My nose was red. My hands were ice. An older lady walked up beside me. She looked at me, paused, then asked, "Where's your coat, love?" I replied softly, "This is all I have." She didn't say anything. She just opened her bag and pulled out a thick, clean winter coat. She handed it to me. "Take this. My daughter doesn't need it anymore. You need it more today." I was speechless. "Thank you, but I can't," she smiled. "You already did." That coat was more than clothing. It was a hug from a stranger, a reminder that even far from home, kindness lives here too. By the end of my first semester, I had improved. I got a B+ in English, my best grade. My teacher said, "Sarah, I've seen you grow. You're one of the hardest working students in class." I wanted to scream with happiness, but I just smiled and said, "Thank you, ma'am." I called my mother that night and said, "Ami, I got B+. She replied, "You got an A+ in my heart." That night, I celebrated by buying a small slice of chocolate cake from the bakery. It was 4s, a lot for me, but it was worth it. As I ate the cake alone in my room, I whispered, "This is not just cake. This is proof that I'm moving forward." My second year in Canada started differently. I was no longer the shy girl afraid to speak. Now I raised my hand in class. I made jokes. I helped new international students find their way around campus. One day a girl from Iraq asked me, "How are you so confident?" I smiled and said, "Because once I was just like you, and I decided not to stay there forever." I also began volunteering at the College Welcome Center, helping other students adjust. It gave me a new kind of happiness, the joy of giving back. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was growing. One afternoon, my professor pulled me aside and said, "Sarah, a local marketing company is looking for interns. I recommended you." I was shocked. "Me?" He smiled. "You've earned it." I prepared for the interview like my life depended on it. I practiced questions, recorded myself, corrected my pronunciation, and dressed as neatly as I could. During the interview, I told them my story, about coming from Iran, working nights, learning English, and not giving up. The manager nodded, then said, "You have something rare, courage, you're hired." When I left that building, I couldn't hold back the tears. I stood in the cold and whispered to the sky, "Thank you. I'm finally being seen." My 24th birthday came during that internship. I didn't plan anything. I couldn't afford a party. But when I arrived at the office, I found a little note on my desk. "Happy birthday, Sarah," Nia had told them. During lunch, my coworkers brought a small cupcake with a candle and sang for me. It was simple, but it touched my heart deeply. I called my mother that night. "Ami, they gave me a cupcake today," I said, holding back tears. She replied, "You are becoming the kind of woman I always dreamed you would be." That was the best gift I could ever receive. After almost 2 years, I got the chance to visit Iran again during summer break. As soon as I stepped off the plane, I smelled the familiar scent of home. Spices, earth, sunshine. My family waited at the airport. My little brother ran and hugged me tight. My mother had tears in her eyes. "You've become thinner," she said, "but stronger." I spent 2 weeks at home, helping in the kitchen, walking through old streets, and telling everyone about my life in Canada. But something felt different. Home was still beautiful, but I had changed. I had 2 worlds now, and I belonged to both. Back in Canada, I finished my studies and got offered a full-time job at the same company where I interned. I moved into a small apartment of my own. I bought a second-hand couch, a little desk, and hung a photo of my parents near the window. I was living alone, but I didn't feel lonely anymore. I often walked to the park, watched the sunset, and whispered to myself, "You did it, Sarah. You came with fear in your suitcase and turned it into strength." I still make mistakes when I speak. I still miss home, but now I smile through it because I know I am exactly where I am meant to be. If you're listening to this story and you also come from a small town, a poor family, or a background where dreams feel impossible, I want to tell you, you are not weak. You are just beginning. The world is big and scary, but it's also beautiful. You will fall. You will cry. You will doubt yourself. But if you don't give up, if you keep going, you will find your light. I came from a village in Iran with broken English, secondhand clothes, and big dreams. Today, I work in a foreign land, speak with confidence, and help others grow. And you can too. Thank you for listening to my journey.